Welcome to WYCD Wicked Speed Debate. It's your old pal Jake, and hello, anti-corporatist first comment of the night. Pinkerbell, good to see you. I am coming off an appearance on The Raging Tomato. I'm interested in how people are doing debates around the internet. Sarah, The Raging Tomato, does a pretty darn good job. So does the Prancess, who will hopefully be joining us tonight to help out with this. Possibly not. Schedules are weird, and this is still the beta version of the show. We're goofing. Rule change that y'all should know about. Oh, Melanie may also be joining us soon. Rule change that I think may make it good. We are now going to ask people who join us to state their desired debate topic in 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Then the House debaters, that's hopefully me and Melanie, possibly just me, will summarize what the guest has said in 30 seconds. And the guest will pick which of us who has summarized their argument they would like to continue to talk with. And the format continues. And then we'll be judged by Prancess. One hopes. In the meantime, suggested topic for the night. Well, JRZ Texan. Hello. Good to see you. And let's just put the other folks up here as well. Anti-corporatist, hello. Pinkerbell, hello. We have, I think, possibly a two Texan night. Pretty cool. The topic for today that I'd like to talk about: global warming, climate change, natural catastrophes, and geological shenanigans. Geological, whatever the word for weather is. Weather shenanigans. As you guys might know, Letterhack's off the grid. Not intentionally. God decided that one. It's a little rough. Oh, Jersey Texan. I like that a lot. Fair enough. But Letterhack off the grid on account of Jesus. And man not being a good caretaker of planet Earth. Here is the Majority Report talking about it.
But we've got a lot of stuff to get to. I want to just start with this. There is devastating flooding. I'm sure you've seen images through the Carolinas. And it's tough because the power is down, cell is down. Let's play this quick clip. I can't remember what number it was. This is 16, I guess. Number 16. This is from USA Today. Got a hold of this. This is in Asheville. Go ahead, play this clip.
This is our road. Gone.
This, I think, was 40 or somewhere around there. I mean, this is like
the house.
Just massive flooding.
That is
a whole house or piece of a house.
Yep, if I've ever seen it.
Thinking of all of the people in the Southeast right now.
And the numbers right now are just over 100. We just really don't have it. Here is Matt Strackbein, the letter hack, lives in Greenwood, South Carolina, and he wanted me to read this. I'm going to read it. I don't think he had much of an opportunity to get information out at all. My town of Greenwood, South Carolina, lost power last Friday at 5:30 a.m. We heard late Sunday. We won't get it back until this Friday at 11:45 p.m. We hope they're buffering that projection to limit people's expectations. Either way, we're doing well and prepared to shelter in place as long as needed. We don't have a lot of news from the inside here, but it seems that very dry conditions and little rain this year, combined with a sudden influx 7 inches in a single night, and the strongest winds I've seen in my life from Helene uprooted hundreds of trees, knocked down as many power lines. Between trees still blocking roads and intense flooding, crews are still working to get access so they can even begin repairs. We ventured out today before sunrise to get gas and more supplies and saw more than one parking lot filled with utility worker vehicles and semi-trailers marked lodgings. These workers and volunteers are effing heroes. We live in a food desert where dollar stores and fast food restaurants have taken over the town. There are 30,000 people with a 30% poverty rate in Greenwood, so one could assume a good number of people don't cook at home or at least rely on microwaves. That creates an even worse disaster when the power goes out statewide, not to mention the gun violence that's been reported in long gas station lines. We heard at least one person was killed at the pumps in a neighboring county. Thanks to capitalism and climate change, we're living in increasingly hostile environments. This will become normal, and it's up to everyone to adapt starting now. Thanks to my wife, we live a fairly sustainable lifestyle already. That's not the case for most. Sorry for any typos. I'm writing this by phone and in haste. We're only using devices to update family and friends, and I consider the MR community both. See you on the other side. Left is best. Letter hack.
Yeah, that's as close as we can get to hearing from Matt Strathbine. But fortunately, we have another friend joining us. Melanie Cosmic Fox, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
Good. A little worried about Matt, if I'm honest. But good. I was thinking that tonight we could open up by not really debating, just talking about what we can do, as we know weather disasters are going to get worse and worse with climate change. Nobody has any idea. I don't expect us to, but maybe we'll come up with something and save
This
the
is
world.
something I've been keeping track of for roughly about now.
This specific storm?
This storm, not a little bit, but not as much, but just climate change and how that's going to play out in the future, perhaps. And yeah, like nothing's settled yet. Like there's still a lot we could do. But it is more of a question of, is it going to be bad or worse at this point?
Yeah, truly. One thing we know for sure is insurance rates are going to skyrocket. I mean, that's kind of like that's like seeing a pack of wolves charging at you and being like, "Oh, my clothes will be ruined." But still, it's a thing that's likely. Insurance rates are already going up. My question is there something federal we could do? Is there do we have like oh gosh, do we have like could we pitch a plan that we could get representatives to vote on, such as ensuring that like insurance companies must pay out for climate disaster related catastrophe? I don't know. Do you have any thoughts about how we should prepare for the changes coming?
That's not necessarily proactive, though. I think like the best thing we can do is get rid of the oil and gas companies. Maybe have like a public gas company, utility. But the reason I'm saying this is because there is so much misinformation on the internet being pushed by these companies and the lobby groups that back them, that even like are trying to get people to believe, and it does, because I've met these people, and they're not paid to say this. They believe this, right? That the only way to actually fix climate change is to become more reliant on fossil fuels because energy density.
Jesus.
And
Christ.
it's like,
I don't even understand the logic of that. Energy density, they say? What are they suggesting? That's like trying to get rid of your cancer by smoking harder.
Well, for them, it's more like it's a counter argument to some renewables, in the sense that gasoline does have a higher energy density per pound, but the consequences of that energy density don't make it worth it, is the whole point that they're missing. But this is like this whole thing is like, we have gas companies and oil companies doing this even here in Canada, right? and yet we're concerned about like Russians and what they say about us on the internet about elections during election season. It's like, I think we have bigger priorities and bigger fish to fry.
I mean, I'm of the belief. Well, one second. I'm of the belief that. Wait a second. Yeah, it's amazing that worked. I'm of the belief that talking about anything that we disagree with the other side on, is going to reveal the through line with all of the thinking on the right in 2024 planet Earth, which is that they simply deny reality over and over. They do this, and we're at
You
a
don't have
point
to tell
where
me twice. I've talked to
Oh,
enough of them.
but we're at a point where you don't even have to be a good person to want to vote against the right, because at this point you can just be a selfish person, frankly, and all of your interests still align with the left, because nobody wants to be on a planet that's cooking. Nobody wants to be in a state that's underwater. I will say this: I think a tax for basically, I think we should tax private fossil fuel companies out of existence. I think we should force the fossil fuel companies to pay for all the damage. Like every time this happened, right now, actually, that's what I'm going to put out there. Hey, internet, I think that all of the damage to South Carolina should be paid to South Carolina. No, it should be paid for by the U.S. federal government right now. So there's no whining about it. And then they should turn around and sue for that money, all the billions that it costs, the major fossil fuel companies. That's what I think.
I'm not
I-
totally sure about this, but is it possible for the government to do eminent domain on gas companies and just make them public?
Ooh. You know what? I don't know either, but I'll say this. We're living in an era where people just do stuff and then justify it later. So, yeah.
And a lot
let's
of these
just do it.
refineries like have the parts and pieces, maybe not the right configuration. So you would have to do some contracting, but the
Yeah.
government's good at that, to do like biofuels. And
Yeah.
technically not the same thing, but you do end up capturing carbon to grow like the algae for it and stuff like that. So you still have emissions, but it's, and I know that net carbon is flawed. Don't get me wrong. But if we're going down that route, it's still way better than fossil fuels.
Yeah. Literally, there's just about anything is better than our current system. And hey, Chile saved itself from capitalism by nationalizing its major industries. I don't see why we shouldn't do the same.
Another thing that I've run into with these people who say like, oh, we need fossil fuels, is that they're in complete denial that we can store energy more efficiently in like the next 10 years, despite all of like these energy storage facilities popping up. They point to like the 3 fires that have made the news from them in like the past 5 years. And it's like, oh my God, okay, cool. Like you don't think like I have enough energy density to keep my iPhone running for how long? And so it's ridiculous to me that they think like, and then that's like even a third thing, because iPhones are getting more efficient. All technology is getting more efficient. The less efficient technology is becoming more obsolete and people are throwing it out. Not saying nobody uses it, but there's obviously going to be less energy demand, especially on a residential level, meaning that you can start to store power locally, or at least within a locality, to serve 4 or 5 houses. And it's not a big issue. These are things that we can maybe bury underground and put beneath the utility pole if you have like the above ground wiring. It's not rocket science. It's still like you want an engineer to do it, but it's not rocket science.
I could even make an argument for switching as much to clean energy as possible from a perspective of somebody who loves old-fashioned cars. There's a finite amount of fuel on this earth. There's a finite amount of years that we'll be able to run NASCAR in the traditional way. Might be a lot of them, but it's a fact. The quicker we get off traditional fossil fuels, the longer we can have NASCAR races where they run on gasoline. It's just that simple. Like there's nobody that could be having a sincere look at the actual facts and think, it's a good idea, not changing anything. It's madness. I hope there's a lot of voters in South Carolina right now reconsidering their stance.
And here's the thing. One of the other problems with this type of energy storage, and yeah, you can have runaway effect with lithium batteries, but the amount of lithium batteries that we have versus the amount of explosions is actually quite low. Or we have a lot of lithium batteries that don't explode. So hydrogen fuel cells are incredibly efficient. They store a lot of energy as well in a small amount of space. In fact, we use them in place of propane sometimes in forklifts already. And my point being that if we can get over this, the scary hydrogen, blew up the blimp, the one, oh no, right? Like over 100 years, nearly 100 years ago, blew up a blimp. We can't do it anymore. No, we can. We do. And if we have cars that run on hydrogen, especially like these old cars, you still get the combustion engine and everything. You can still get that wonderful sound, but then you can also recapture that water and split it again with an electric charge when you charge it electrically, and it goes back into the fuel cell. It's really cool.
It is cool. And by the way, I think there's a gold rush coming pretty soon. It's just going to be a financial necessity for the average home to have solar panels of some kind, or the average business to have solar panels. As soon as that happens, the solar panel companies, which I mean those that make them, those that install them, those that maintain them, you're going to have a lot of thousandaires become millionaires, and then very quickly 100 millionaires and billionaires. I don't like that last part, but it's basically inevitable. Get on board.
Unless we somehow get a government in the current democratic system that actually distributes wealth horizontally, which is just runs counter to our current economic philosophy that runs the government.
We could, though. Imagine this. Government agrees to purchase solar panels for every home that requests them. Government only installs through companies of a certain size, meaning that all
I like the route you're going down, but because you're trying to reach out to right wingers, I think you have an even better thing to say. Public option again, right? Have the government have basically their own business, government run business. The money that they make from it, the profits, instead of having to pay taxes, people get their solar panels cheaper because, the government's going to be able to do wholesale like a motherfucker and negotiate like a motherfucker. And people don't have to worry about their taxes going up for it because the revenue might even be able to fund other things if the business is self-sufficient. This is 100%. Like in Canada here, we do that with the LCBO.
Really?
With liquor distribution, yeah. Well, Ontario specifically. That is on the LCBO's Liquor Licensing Bureau or Liquor Control Board of Ontario, but yeah.
I've put it in my notes. That is very interesting. Also, if the whole stream goes down suddenly, it's because I'm very casual with clicking on the tabs here. I'm getting real close to that X button. It's not
and
good.
The government is often like right next because they do have military research and stuff like that on the cutting edge of new technologies, right? So if new research about solar panels come out, instead of waiting for it to come to market, the government can advance that research to make it commercially available, and then have their own production lines. Or if you're communist, we can have the production lines and do it all ourselves. But I'm just saying.
I'm obviously more for that, but I'll say, let man, I would be so happy if there was even a candidate out there right now pitching the government, essentially acting like the LCBO, but for solar panels. Here's something that's intriguing to me. There's not the automatic right-wing hatred for this idea yet. And I think if we act fast, as in we introduce the idea and then vote on it quickly, there won't be enough time for them to come up with reasons to hate it. And we know those reasons always end up being arbitrary anyway. So not unlike Social Security, where once they have it, they love it and they defend it desperately. I think this could be a very similar thing. I also think we can line up shots. We have the real estate apocalypse coming to the U.S. very soon, probably coming to other countries as well. Boy, talk about a way to raise your building's value is to have a percentage of its energy come in for free. Could help.
Okay, so can I just on the alcohol thing? I quickly looked it up just because I became worried. Like, wait, what if this is like a private business? And I just never knew that. It's not. From Wikipedia, and I'm sure like Wikipedia has no reason to lie about this. The LCBO transferred a dividend of $2.3 billion to the provincial government, in 2019.
Yo, that's like build a rail money.
So basically,
like
you create a quasi monopoly on these things, which is what they've done with the alcohol industry here in Ontario.
I'm all for monopolies if the government has them, and I'm all for a government monopoly if it's something literally everyone needs.
We might have something to debate here, because if we are going to have actual, like, if this is going to be how we do commerce, then I have a bit of an issue with, obviously right wingers are going to want control of that, right? So are we maybe giving them too much room to suddenly control it with like a democratic society that says, hey, oh, you're a neo-fascist. Okay, cool. We're still going to let you run for office, Mr. Trump.
I got to be honest. I'm not real thrilled with the United States right now on account of that very reason.
I'm just saying, like, it's 2024. We should know better.
We should. And you would think that somebody trying a coup would mean they are arrested, tried, and convicted before the next election. You would think that assumes that the government, gives a damn about its citizens.
Well, doesn't that kind of just incentivizing having the coup in your first term, like, successfully?
Sure. There's a lot of incentive for criminals to get.
I'm saying they shouldn't be able to run for office when they show that they have like allegiances to people who would overthrow government.
That we might actually have a debate here as well, because
see, I'm not a democratic purist. I want democracy in whatever free society we come up with, but I think it'll be more like a local democracy.
I just think it shirks the responsibility. Like the problem here is not necessarily the setup of the system. It's the fact that the people involved in it have had no interest in doing their jobs. So even if we came up with a rule that would like have fixed this specific situation, we would still have the larger problem of the DOJ, our Department of Justice, just not being interested in prosecuting right-wingers. And that's got to change, because right-wingers are the most criminal of all political outlooks. It's insane. Can I give the rules to the people real quick?
Oh, sure, yeah.
The link. So we're for this version of the test stream, the 1.1.2. We're gonna have if you use the link to come on into the show and you've got something you want to talk about, give us the full pitch both hosts the full 2-minute, 30-second idea that you have to talk about. Then we'll do the 30-second recap if we're interested. If we're not, we'll just hang out, whatevs. And then you decide, you, the person who is called into the show, which of us that have recapped your thing or are in for debating you would like to talk to, and we'll go from there. Will it work? Maybe. But it'll be good. It'll be an interesting discussion regardless. We have nobody waiting, though, so it's probably just going to be us chatting. Oh, wait, I see the Fox talking.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's just me. We should watch something. Like, want to review a debate?
I kind of do.
I think that should be like the backup at all times. We're like, even if we're not debating, we can review debates.
I do like that. I think
that makes it like a podcast format sometimes.
Ooh, I like that a lot. All right, we will in a moment. I want to throw an idea I had at you. It's an idea I had a while back.
I'm scared.
I'm not sure if it's kind of fashy or not,
Fashy.
Yeah, it might be. It might be. So
I was
similar to
hoping you were
what
going
you
to
were
say
saying.
fashiony at first.
Oh, I'll throw fashiony ideas at you all the time. Any day of the week.
That's
But
how quickly my hopes were gotten up and destroyed, by the way. Just 2 syllables.
oh. All right. I said that's too close to my mouth. I said that in the state of Michigan, where I live, we should put a rule on the books saying any political party that has members that participated in January 6th, that knowingly has members that participated in January 6th, has, say, 60 days to get rid of them, or they are no longer recognized as a political party because that was a coup. And we can't have a person pretending to pretending to participate in politics when they really are just trying to steal power. Do you think that basically, essentially, banning Republicans if they don't kick out their J6 members is too authoritarian?
Like, in a generalist sense, yes. From a left-wing anti-fascist perspective, no.
If in the generalist sense, I think it would apply both ways. I think if there were Democrats found to have participated in a coup and the party knew that they participated in a coup and they didn't kick them out of the party, that's fair game for shutting down the party in that state. I don't see why it's lefty specifically.
Oh, okay, because you tied it to a specific event is all.
That's true. I did.
And I got hyper focused on that. I'm sorry.
No, and I phrased it that way. I should have phrased it broadly if that's what I meant. So that's what I did mean, and I'll change my phrasing. Participated in a coup instead of January 6th specifically. Then you have to argue, well, was January 6th a coup and blah, blah, blah. But it was declared a coup basically immediately and is recognized as such by world organizations and people who live in reality. It feels right.
Like you said, that our politicians don't care. And the problem is like, it's hard to know how much people will actually care and live up to their promises when they actually get elected. So
it is.
I don't have a lot of faith that we can make politicians care, especially since these are demands that are typically coming from the middle and lower class, not the upper class.
Yeah.
The very insulated upper class. So my general issue is it's kind of like anti-progress in that if we're starting to get held up against the wall where we're paying for higher rates of inflation and everything because climate change is just leading to government overspending and they're putting it all on us because believe me, we're the ones who are going to pay at the end of the day for everything. You know, what are we as leftists supposed to do? What happens when people are ready to fight against a system? And I think it's worse to not have like the progressive kind of fire exit, which is a coup in the right direction, in my opinion. The left direction, but the correct direction, not the right direct. God damn it! I hate the Overton window so much. Actually, I don't know why I don't know why I use it so much.
No, I just hate where it is. I appreciate the concept, at least for understanding what people are on about. Although what bugs me so much is that people, well, we talked about this already. They just don't live in reality. I'd be fine if people agreed on what is happening. Like, could look outside and see, oh yeah, it's the next hottest year on record ever, just after last year. But global warming isn't a thing. I'm off on a thing. Do you have a specific debate that you would like to look at?
Yeah, I kind of want to look at one. This topic is my magnus opum, my opening kind of starting point in debate with modern day debates. So it's not my debate particularly. It's actually Django Science Lad versus Destiny on the trans athlete issue. And I just want to show people what pure informed confidence looks like and how someone who just knows his shit has a debate, because you can't fake that. I guess Destiny sort of does, but then you see him fall apart when he can't. Not so much in this. I think he maintains his calm pretty well throughout this, if I recall correctly. But it's just like Jangles doesn't really seem phased, like when he doesn't have answers for things. He doesn't need to like push back super heavily on Destiny if Destiny makes a point that isn't just immediately like debunkable. And I felt the same way too with certain debates where I just know I'm knowledgeable, and I think that's what we have to kind of attain when we prep for these debates is assess our confidence level and really try to like up that.
All right. I'm trying to pull it up right now.
What do you think about having a club where like when someone is prepping for a debate, they can come on here
Yo.
to
That would
do
be-
like a less just like maybe a quicker like 1 hour, they get to talk to someone who also has the same beliefs, and then maybe just try to see how confident they actually feel against them. It's kind of like
Yeah.
a debate polishing.
Oh, that'd be great. That would be fantastic. Also, I should tell you, I'm having a dickens of a time finding this thing.
It's on Jangles Science Lab.
Then
channel.
never
I was
is he playing Elden Ring? Looks like.
No, I think he has Destiny's screen up in his thumbnail. Science Lab.
Here, wait. I can pull it up on the stream, and we can. Is it this? Debating Destiny about trans women in sports from 2 years ago.
Oh yeah, that would be it. You're even having a better time.
This confuses me. Weren't you on Modern Day Debate like 4 years ago?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I networked with Jangles a bit after that, but he was very busy, so we never did any collabs or anything. But I always very much respected him just because he's a good debater. He's very eloquent and just enough of charismatic, but he doesn't overdo it. You know, he's not what would you say, playing it up, which I don't mind. Like the whole radio broadcaster thing that I love is like people playing up their charisma. How's it going, folks? Today we've got a great show for you. You got a good one coming. You don't want to tune away because you're gonna miss the biggest thing ever. It's like, okay. That's lovely. You say that every night though.
By the way, we did have a debater come in, and we can and will go to the Jangles Science Lab after this. But
Science Lab with a B. Science.
That's what I'm saying. Science Lab.
Is it Science Lad?
Oh, lad, like adorable.
I never thought of calling him Science Lab. That's really
look. I have the mind of at best an immature 6-year-old.
He is in sports science. I don't know if like he's ever done content that's in a science lab though. I don't think. Maybe he has. He was like, here's my work sort of video. I haven't checked.
I like Science Lad. It is a good name. Here's Donald James. Hey, buddy.
Can we?
Here's Donald James's shoulder. Hey, buddy.
Up?
Oh, not
what's up, guys? What's up, Jake? What's up, Melanie? Cosmic
Hello.
Gizmo. I don't care. Gizmo. Your pick reminds me of Gizmo. It just does. I know that it's a what is it? A furry?
Furby.
A Furby
with a B.
Okay.
So racist.
A Furby. Okay, no, I'm just uninformed. That's all. But I will
John
learn.
James
but
is
I
not
will
racist against
Can we
furries.
cancel
He
this
simply
guy?
doesn't care for the Dutch. Famously hates the Dutch.
I got problems with the Dutch.
I nominate John James
racist.
for cancellation. All who favor say aye. Aye.
No. He's where
look at all the hands go up in the chat. Dang it.
Oh, damn. Oh, Dominico, hello. Good to see you. Let me move us around a little bit. I thought that would work better. Is this? Yay, there we go. Oh. All right, fair enough. I just thought it was the angle, but no, you're on a water slide. So what is the thing that you are wanting to talk about?
Well, I just I hear a lot about how the Democrats, it would be a good idea for the Democrats to for one like abolish the filibuster and then number two, pack the courts, right? And the reason why it seems like it might be plausible is because I heard Kamala on, who was it, MSNBC, with what's her name, Stephanie something, and when she was being interviewed, when Kamala was being interviewed, and she said that she was wanting to think about getting rid of the filibuster. She said that.
Before you go too far into it, I'd like to try this with a new format where you pitch us for the full 2 minutes 30 seconds like this. Can you phrase it, and Melanie, help me out with this a little bit, with what I'm trying to say, if you can decipher it. Can you say the thing where we could understand what the opposite stance would be? Melanie, do you know what I'm trying to say?
Steel personing?
No, like we're debating what's the topic? Should we nationalize the oil industry? Like that.
Yeah, just rephrasing their argument.
Yeah, can you, Don James, can you say your argument as like a one sentence thing and then do 2 minutes and 30 seconds making the argument? So like,
yeah,
should we
well,
get rid of the filibuster?
Technically, he already has. So
can you do it again just for me?
Explain.
Like,
yeah,
should we get rid of the filibuster?
I was just trying to describe, because of the recent interview, that getting rid of the filibuster could be a possibility. Now, my claim, I guess, is that it may not, getting rid of the filibuster and packing the courts may not be a good idea for the Democrats.
Okay, so getting rid of the filibuster, not a good idea for the Democrats. All right, convince us, sir. You've got 2 minutes and 30 seconds whenever you're ready.
Yeah, it seems like when we think about stuff like getting rid of the filibuster and packing the courts, that it's going to be a benefit to the Democrats, right? And we all get giddy and happy about it, like oh, this is how it's got to be, to get things passed in the Senate, or to even out the Supreme Court, right? And stuff like that. Now, I would agree that maybe packing the court will help temporarily, but I argue that, look, you got to put the shoe on the other foot. If we do get rid of the filibuster, why does our side always think that once we get power, we will retain power? This country has proven over and over again that it goes back and forth all the time. So if we get rid of the filibuster and pack the courts, what if the GOP gets that power? And now they have more judges on the court, and now they get to bypass the filibuster in order to pass their agenda. So that's what I mean about how it may not be a good idea. It could be a good idea temporarily, but we never think about past that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty much all I have to say on it. If you get my point, if you got any questions.
Well, yeah, we'll get to that in a moment. First of all, who wants to recap the argument of Don James in 30 seconds, and thus potentially debate him?
Oh, I don't have strong arguments on this. I think you'll have stronger ones than me.
Fair enough. So let me know if I've got this correct, sir. You're saying that although it would be good in the short term, Democrats are not thinking about when inevitably power is out of their hands again. And when we get rid of these things that essentially slow down government, we are going to be handing a system over to the Republicans or whoever that is more broken than it currently is. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. And you did pretty good with the time too. So yeah.
Thank you. All right. Then I shall begin the rebuttal. Stand by while I furiously tap that key. All right. Melanie, I'm going to take you off for now, and I'll bring you back in a moment. Okay, rebuttal time. I agree in the principle, but I think the times we live in necessitate a change to the rules. The reason being the Supreme Court has the makeup it does right now because Republicans cheated. I also think that the filibuster has become a thing that basically only Republicans really use to any sort of effect. And they do it because they're dishonest about the way that they intend to govern. Basically, they're just trying to make government as inefficient as possible so they can make an argument for privatizing it so that they can thieve more efficiently. I think that there is a danger with changing the rules so drastically, but we've been well past the time where major rules changes needed to be made for a long time. We have to take the risk. The reason we have to take the risk is because with the rules the way they are, you need a supermajority. You need more votes than you will ever get to pass meaningful legislation. It comes down to we have to win up in November. We should immediately change the rules, and once we change the rules, we should immediately take steps to show people what a functioning government actually does. Most people who are alive now have forgotten if they ever got to see a functioning U.S. government. Most people have forgotten because the last time we've really done much of anything was 30, 40 years ago. In the wake of Ronald Reagan, we have just become a complicated way to take money out of regular folks' pockets and put it into the pockets of people who are already rich. So to recap, I would say I accept your premise. I think there is a risk in changing the rules so drastically to essentially make legislation easier to pass. But it's a risk that Republicans have forced us to take. And I argue that we must take because otherwise we will spend the entire next administration just getting filibustered instead of getting legislation passed. Can you recap the argument I made in about 30 seconds?
I think I can do it less than that. Basically,
Boom.
you can. Okay. Basically, you're saying it's worth the risk.
Yeah.
That's basically what you were saying. It's worth the risk.
5 seconds, all you needed. That's it exactly. All right.
Okay.
5 minutes, general discussion. What are your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts is why can't we just do it democratically? Why can't we just do it democratically the way it is? And so that puts the onus on the voters to make the change. You know what I mean?
Sure.
You know what I mean? So it's up to the voters to make the change. So that way we can get the supermajority in the Senate. So that way, the filibusters, I guess, is the main thing I'm arguing against.
Sure. Let me touch on that for a second. The reason we can't is because of the way senators are elected in the United States, or the number, rather, of senators in the United States. You get 2 for every state, and that does not fairly represent the populace. So you have a bunch of senators from conservative states who abuse the filibuster and use it to stop any legislation that's at all going to be helpful from going through. Well, the people from not conservative states are way more numerous. There's just actually more people. And so it ends up meaning that if you're a leftist, you need to get a massive amount of people voting for the things you believe in order to get anything passed. But if you're a right winger, you only need that core of conservative states.
Yeah, because as it looks right now it's going to be tough for the Democrats to retain the Senate.
Yeah.
So, that's what I mean. It goes back and forth too much. Do we really want to get rid of the filibuster so that way the GOP can pass whatever they want? You know what I mean? Then we're going to look back and go, and then what are we going to say then?
The issue with the filibuster is that it makes it easier. It makes it easier for a minority party to stop things from happening. But it doesn't make it, it also makes it more difficult for a majority party, a party that represents the majority of people, to start legislation happening. Basically, I'm talking too much and not saying the correct thing. I'm just saying if the filibuster goes the other way,
right.
The GOP has a
then
ton
that's
of people.
Democracy. Then you're saying that's then then we lose. Then we have to accept that we lose. Then if the GOP does, then that's democracy. You know what I mean? If the GOP has power and they use that rule change, then we can't complain about it at that point.
I mean, it would make us it would make it tougher for us to stop things that they are trying to do. That's true. But I think fundamentally they are not trying to do much. And they're not trying to, all they're trying to do is tax breaks for the rich, essentially. And in that fight, I think we can get the votes necessary to stop it. But when we try to do something like expand Medicare, that's an issue that they'll vote against every single time, and we will just never get there because they don't need then as many senators. Basically, let me put it like this: if we have the nation 50-50 divided, they will stop things from passing always. If we have the nation, no, that's it. Yeah, if we have the nation 50-50 divided, nothing will ever happen. And we're just going to rot while waiting for people to all agree, which will never happen.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, you want to, I guess I could take the risk. I see what you're saying. But I guess I stand by that claim. I suppose.
I'll burn. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, as far as the Supreme Court goes, I generally think the same way about it, but it would change things temporarily. I mean, for the Democrats, and we just have to hope that the GOP, never take control of an expanded court. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think we have
the American people. The American people need to make up their mind and find out where we're going. That's why I always put the onus on the American voter. You know what I mean?
I have to say, you bring up a great point with that, which is that it is ultimately on the American people, and that's worth considering. Certainly, Melanie, what'd you think?
So wait, I'm going into the judging already?
Yeah, just so far. Is there anything you'd like us to talk about in regards to this?
Yeah, I think you should do another 5 minutes talking more directly about how it would benefit the Democrats.
Interesting. Okay. I shall. All right. Donald James, you want to do another 5 minutes?
Sure.
Let's do it.
Hey, I have fun doing this, So it's cool.
Yeah, same. It's real good exercise, man. I enjoy thinking critically about the things that I think I believe.
And I'll tell you what, I kind of rely on Melanie, kind of like setting like what are we doing wrong, how we might be debating. Because I don't consider myself a debater. Excuse me. But so I appreciate like any critiques of how I'm presenting my argument.
Absolutely. All right, Melanie, we'll see
Bye.
you in 5.
See ya.
5 minutes on the clock. Like an NBA game where wait a minute, I just realized that's maybe not accurate. I'm not going to make that analogy. Here we go. Yeah, I think it's going to affect the Democrats in this way. We will no longer need to woo the centrists so much. And the centrists have been the downfall of reason, in my opinion. It makes it so that, and we're talking about the filibuster here because, well, I'll just stick with that. Yeah, we're not going to have to woo the centrists so much. We lost out on the best policies that Joe Biden had planned for us because of Sinema and Manchin. I don't want to keep seeing that happen over and over.
Now I hear you there. I mean, that's definitely true. As far as I know, the Democrats, the beginning of each, or after the beginning of each new inauguration of an administration, how many they can reconcile in the Senate, right? Like, how many times can they do that? Like twice?
I'm not sure. I thought once, but twice sounds right too. I don't know.
Yeah, and so they can reconcile already the filibuster, right? That's how they got the Affordable Care Act passed, was through reconciliation. So they can do it 3 times. And so when Kamala says that she's thinking about doing something about the filibuster and getting rid of it, it's risky. That's the right word. It's risky. I don't know if it's a good idea. When the Democrats, if they have the power to do so, they can already reconcile some key passing key bills, key legislation. They already have a couple that they can do.
Absolutely. I'll grant that and move on to the Supreme Court then, because I think that's ultimately perhaps going to be more important, because I do absolutely think they should pack the Supreme Court. Here's my reasoning. The Republicans break any rule they can get away with breaking. They have always been dishonest actors. If they pack the Supreme Court after we pack the Supreme Court, we're just going to wind up in the position we are in now. We will not be worse off. So I'm thinking pack the Supreme Court, because there are people on there who are fundamentally dishonest, who have darn near publicly taken bribes for cases that they ruled on. We got somebody on there whose wife was involved in January 6th. And that was that person, Clarence Thomas, was the sole vote to not allow the government to look at the evidence wherein we found his wife was involved with January 6th. I think we have an actual crisis on our hands currently.
Yeah, that's to me, that's a conflict of interest. But go ahead. You can continue.
Well, I just think we have a crisis on our hands, and it justifies drastic action. The Supreme Court was not always 9 seats, and there is a pitch out there to suggest that as the population of the United States has grown, it makes less and less sense to keep the same number of the Supreme Court justices. We should tie it to the population of the United States. And I'm for that. I think that's a logical way to do it.
I kind of rescind my argument against packing the court. I actually think it is a good idea to pack the court, because even though we just get kind of level out temporarily and just hope that the GOP doesn't get the powers, in the Supreme Court, I think it's worth it. That risk is more worth it, in my opinion.
Fair enough. And I rescind my filibuster thing.
Okay, that's enough circle jerking. Jesus.
That's called a discussion. That's a conversation. You know what I mean?
And it's funny, my advice led to this outcome, so I'm just going to praise myself here. But I actually have criticisms for you again, Jake.
Okay, hit me.
You had an opportunity to pin him down even, and I don't think that would have made a big difference here because you got what you wanted. But had you needed to, he had said, well, we run the risk of giving the Republicans more power, but from one term to the next, because we might lose Democratic control of certain, like the Senate or even who the president is. But the Supreme Court, that doesn't apply. So you should have pointed out to him, hey, if you're worried about that, this is the one chance for you to actually overcome that even. Hello.
Fair.
And I just
Fair.
want to point out, you kind of did, like, John James isn't a debater, so I didn't care either. But you did let him slide a bit with Steelmanning you. Like, of course, you're saying it is a good idea, but he needs to say why.
Fair. I will say
Okay.
this: as of now, sir, you are a 3-time veteran debater. You have debated in a public forum at least thrice, which just about matches up with my record. So
Yep.
good on
trying to get on a higher tier.
you. Yeah, I'm trying to get on some real shows next. All right, fair enough.
Yeah, maybe Princess. I don't know.
He's
I'm nervous. I'm nervous to go on that one.
That'd be fun. It'd be, even if you feel like you lose utterly, it'd still be a fun experience, man.
And thank you for actually bringing something to discuss.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, man. Good appearance. Thank you for stopping by. I'm gonna bring up our next guest.
All right. See you guys later. Bye
See
bye.
you around, brother man.
Bye.
Bye, Miller.
In the waiting room, we have another longtime friend of the show. And his name is Obsessive Audio. And I was really trying to time that. There we go. And his name is...
He's not as obsessive about timers, apparently.
No, just me. And his name is son of a beefsteak. Obsessive Audio.
Bitch. Son of a bitch.
I would argue I'm more obsessive about audio than
You
you
guys,
are.
you hear me, all right?
Are you
Molly,
sure?
you hear
Listen to
me?
this guy. We
Yeah.
hear you. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Do you have a 2-minute, 30-second... Wait. Do you have a topic you want to talk about?
I have no preconceived topics, opinions, notions, or arguments to make, but I don't want to do the Russia thing again because we did that.
True.
I love the Supreme Court talk.
Let's pick something entirely different and let's get crazy with it.
I had a good time, by the way, Melanie. I had a good time, by the way, last time. That was awesome.
Oh, good.
Fun, right? Fun person to talk to, man.
Me too.
Back in the habit. Yes, indeed. Wait, is that a nun
So
joke?
So we got to pick something.
is Chewbacca the comedic
no.
relief?
Oh, you want to go to Star Wars?
Wars?
Yeah. Is Chewbacca the what? I'm sorry.
Is he like Jar Jar? Is he the comedic relief of Star Wars?
No, not the same way. I would say because
Hey, start the timer, Jake. Start the timer.
I'm
Start the
starting
fucking
this
timer.
timer. I'm starting this.
Okay.
We're doing it. You sons of bitches.
Okay,
And
here we go.
I'm
We're
taking
gonna talk
myself
about,
off
is
the
Chewbacca
screen. And
We're
you
gonna see
guys are
some
monsters.
obsessive technology right now.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I would say the first 3 Star Wars films, episode 4, 5, 6, or whatever it is, Chewbacca does supply comic relief. So does R2D2.
Okay, we need to have a
does-
common format. I'm sorry, Jake. Restart the timer. First 3 films are episodes 1 through 3. Okay, so I need you to talk about.
No. The first film was Star Wars Episode 4
That's
or something.
That's the 4th film.
No, the first Star Wars film, 1977.
Oh my God.
They
Okay,
started
I'll do
off,
it your
they
way.
called
I'll
it
do it your
Episode
way.
4.
I'll
The
do it your way.
prequels are
If I mess
episode
up,
1, 2, 3. But that's
I'll
you're right though. That it's just nomenclature.
I'm gonna make you
It's just
recast his
nomenclature.
I'll
Got a
do it your
generous
way.
bite.
It's fine.
All right.
But that's the first. Okay, 1977, Star Wars, 1979,
A New Hope.
Empire Strikes Back, 1983, Return of the Jedi. Those 3 films. There's tons of everybody does comic relief. Han Solo does, Princess Leia does comic relief. There's no target. There's no object. Where it's like, we're going to write this film. Everything's funny. It's almost, the weird part is that, especially the very first Star Wars film, almost everybody is comic relief. And then when you get later into like Return of the Jedi, even Yoda has comic relief. I'll always maintain that. The Empire, not so much. Maybe there are moments where an Empire person does something comedic, or at least you're supposed to laugh at them. But that's actually, Star Wars is very dystopian. I remember, like, the Star Trek versus Star Wars. Star Trek is the Roddenberry world, which we've gotten over our mortal coil. We've figured out economics, and everybody's cool. But there's still other worlds, so there's still war, there's still conflict, but it's not dystopian in the way that Star Wars is, where there are rebels fighting against the evil empire, and if they don't fight, they're fucked, right? It's existential. And so there's a difference there. But in terms of comic relief, yeah, I think that first batch of films has a ton of comic relief, and it comes from a lot of Obi-Wan. I would have to look, but I'll try to find a place where Obi-Wan is the comic relief, and I'm sure it's probably there. And I have 35 seconds left, but I don't.
You don't need to use all of it. I think there should be.
In fact, that 30
I yield
seconds,
my
that's
time.
enough for me to steel person you now. I'm just going to keep saying that to bother you, Jake.
Yeah, no, steal me. I don't know, but okay. Well, in the 29 seconds we have left, explain to me, Melanie, what steel person actually is before you do it to me.
The steel person is when you try.
Yeah.
I want
Steel
to.
person is when you try to say the argument back to someone as strongly as you think they would say it. So as strongly as possible, with the idea being like, if you have a straw person, you're trying to make it as weak as possible, or even like a different argument altogether, so you don't have to attack it. The steel person is specifically what is that person saying, and then you attack it.
So you just attack with you attack what the person just said. You don't come in with your own ideas. You take what the other person said and attack it.
It's just a method. It's just a method. And yeah, It's not the most offensive thing, but it does show very good faith that you can do that.
Yeah,
well, that's good. No, but it proves it is good faith. Melanie's right, because it is good faith, because it shows that you understood what the other person said.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It shows that you were listening.
Yeah.
Okay, so now do I do that?
Yes, and I just want to toss this out there. A la Taskmaster, I'm going to throw in arbitrary points. Again, the points don't matter. This isn't decided by points. But
this isn't your debate. This isn't your debate. No. No. This is no. This is personal between me and Obsessive Audio.
Okay, you're right.
Oh, we're gonna
no curveballs. Here you go. 30 seconds, whenever you're ready.
What was the actual debate though? Were we Star Trek versus Star Wars, or were we?
No. We're not doing that yet. We can. I have yet to watch Star Trek. I'm not doing that debate until I watch it. But I'm pretty sure I know what
it was Jar Jar Binks, isn't it? Right?
And if anybody,
it will come down to Jar Jar Binks.
I know the GD internet. Respectfully, if anybody out there says 40K, suck my dick. 30 seconds. Steal. Do the thing.
Do the thing. Yeah, got it. Are you still here?
I'm here. Yeah, I thought it was Melanie's turn.
No, you should restart it. I was just kidding. So the first point was generally that we see comedic relief in multiple characters in episodes 4 through 6. That is fine. I agree with that. Your second point was that there's two different types of dystopias going on. Episodes 1 through 3 have very kind of like well-formed worlds. And we see like a strong Senate and stuff like that. Episodes 4 through 6 that's been destroyed. It's a completely detached environment. And I'm sorry if you made one more. I just don't have time.
No, but Melanie's right. I'll expand on Melanie's time, and she's right, because it's all dystopian. It's all about rebels fighting an evil empire that's obviously more powerful. Obviously has way more resources. And is totally evil for whatever reason. That's never actually really described in the earlier films. But they're fucking evil.
I never realized that. That's interesting. But I'm not supposed to comment yet. Melanie, do you want to shred Obsessive Audio's nerd cred?
Oh yeah, point for point. He's only got 2.
Boom. All right. Whenever you're ready.
Nice.
So I would agree with you that there is we can see like comedic relief in more characters even in episodes 4 through 6. But the point that I'm trying to argue is that Chewbacca is essentially the form of comedic relief that we see in Jar Jar, with the caveat that Jar Jar is more like a self-contained character. We get a lot more expressions and vocalizations out of Jar Jar than we clearly do out of Chewbacca. We can understand what Jar Jar is saying. Chewbacca is kind of like the sub-level of Jar Jar, his inner kind of forces, and outside of him are all of like the other people who would be doing comedic relief in episodes 4 through 6. Think of him like the condensed form of all the comedic relief you see in what you would say are the first 3 films. And so the reason I make that connection is particularly if there's any character I would compare to Jar Jar from the first 3 movies, it would be Chewbacca. Going into Dystopia, I really love that point. I'm rewatching through it right now, and that just really hits hard when you start with episode 1, because you get lulled into kind of a less dystopian world into a more dystopian world, and that certainly changes the tone of everything. However, I would say that it still has the same kind of comedic method, and that being said, that is kind of like to react and make quips at things. And Jar Jar is, again, like that's basically his character. So he's like he's like, and so to me, I don't know how much the dystopia really matters, because I see the same kind of comedic method throughout, because it's George Lucas, right? He probably has a consistent sense of humor.
I do. I agree with you on this, right? But you have 40 seconds.
Well, there's no point in going forward anymore.
Boom. All right.
Yeah, no, see, well, the problem I had with Jar Jar is not actually, okay, here's the weird part, right? Because this is again where I'm gonna say something way outside that's gonna throw the conversation up to this point. The part of the problem I think that I had with Jar Jar were maybe 2 things. Number 1 was it was very obviously CGI. This is early computer graphics. It looked
1999
so fake.
graphics, baby.
Yes, and of course the redos of the original Star Wars films were actually the same way, because that was around the time he was putting in. There's some scenes that look like actually a lot better, where it was like, oh, there's a window now. There's some starships out there. There's a planet out there. And there's some other scenes where they redid it where it's like, ooh, it was kind of actually better before the way they did it in 1977 with the practical effects. That is not, that's endemic to all movies at the time. I'll say that's like, that was the state of CG. If you had $1 bazillion, then you could do that in like 1999 or 2000 or whenever it was. Very primitive compared to what can be done today in terms of resolution.
All day. I still think practical.
No, I will too. I agree.
And
I agree. So because he went back and he changed them all, and some people said, oh, he changed who shot first, Han or Greedo. I don't even know if he changed it. I didn't really pay that much attention.
The point is Greedo died. The point is Greedo died, okay?
The point is Greedo died. They were going to both shoot at each other. Was Han evil because he shot first and he didn't wait for Greedo to shoot him first?
Let's just talk about like the ability to do.
And then there were the additional scenes, right? The additional scenes with Jabba outside the spaceship, right? Jabba's outside of the Millennium Falcon. That was never in the original.
For the purposes of building this show, we have discovered a new winning condition: synthesis. When people end up agreeing. Despite all odds, we're talking.
Not the first time it happened to me.
Okay, well, you know what? I'll add something new. The other thing that turned me off of Jar Jar was just the way he looked, and it just felt corporate and like, let's make him let's give him some dreads,
Jar Jar
and
looks
let's
corporate.
turn
I got it.
him 10% more Jamaican, right? Like in The Simpsons.
Yeah, for sure.
And like I felt that coming off of him
Me
when
too.
I saw it in the theater.
Well, let's just say
You know,
Caribbean, just to not be exclusive.
Well, yeah, no, exactly. But
I
islands,
did
yeah,
love
you
the
know,
Gungan
yeah,
City.
yeah.
I'll toss that out there. The Gungan City was cool.
Because they didn't
Definitely.
portray him as they didn't like. It wasn't a race that didn't portray him as a black individual or like there was no. He's a fictional character, right? It's not a.
It was the time where it was
wasn't
still
that
kind of
way.
like, it wasn't necessarily bad to appropriate cultures. You can't pin that on Lucas. He didn't know any better.
Oh God, you listen to the romantic dialogue, and then you can say that he definitely didn't know it. The Star Wars, the romantic dialogue. Anytime they have male and female, which I think is probably all that occurred in those films.
George Lucas is like 60% of the best writer ever and 40% of the worst writer ever.
Yeah,
I think it's more 80-20, but whatever.
Fair.
So like,
Excessive
and
audio.
the reason I still love the first 3 episodes is like the pod races absolutely kill it. So do the, like,
that's fucking
like-
amazing. I
Yeah.
agree.
if
Anakin
you have a
and
good surround sound system, the bass in those scenes just, you might as well just blow out your eardrums. It sounds so good.
THX baby, fucking oh.
Dolby, Dolby better.
Yeah, well, yeah, or whatever, but you listen on a regular system, stereo, whatever. But yeah, the sound always was important to George Lucas, for sure.
You guys ready for
THX?
a challenge round?
Yeah, give us
All
something
right.
that we'll fight about.
All right. I'm going to try
If we
going
want
obscure.
debates, well, you know, I'll have a debate about debates versus conversation.
British sci-fi, Doctor Who versus Red Dwarf, which is better?
I don't
Yes.
know Red Dwarf enough to make the comments.
Fair. Doctor Who versus Rick and Morty. That's too obvious. Toss out some sci-fi franchises. Oh, you know, I'll go back and
Well, Star
Make
Wars
myself-
versus Star Trek is the good one.
that is. but I
Everybody,
think-
everybody knows those two.
Did Pokemon peak with Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald?
Like anti-corporatist was saying, okay, Star Trek is the best because it presents a vision of life, whether that's the Roddenberry version or what the producers did afterwards. But it's an egalitarian. We don't know. They never describe what we see in The Next Generation is Picard saying, well, economics are a lot different now. And I
Tinkerbell's
love that.
question-
That always like struck me
What a
as
cop-out.
a young person. No, but economics are different now. Like,
Tinkerbell's question got
who doesn't want economics to be different from the way they are right now?
cut off here. Which is the
The
best
people who are
Doctor, and why
copying.
is it David Tennant? Is the question.
Yes.
Do you guys watch Doctor Who enough for that to be relevant? Which is the best Doctor?
No.
Fair. How about I had a good one like 10 seconds ago, and I wanted to make a David Tennant joke. Best. Oh no, obsessive
Best
audio.
Canadian comedy, The Red Green Show. This hour has 22 minutes. Or Kenny versus Benny.
Ooh, that's a good
Oh,
one.
Okay,
Oh,
you know
fuck,
what? Best
I-
Canadian
it's gonna
comedy,
be
and if you guys don't get to
22
Trailer
minutes
Park
is
Boys-
out.
Actually, I'll even add.
What kind
I'll
of-
add as a troll option, Corner Gas, if someone really wants to. go
Oh,
there.
okay, well, then I'll go Corner Gas.
Oh God.
Trailer
Okay,
Park
we're
Boys.
gonna disagree.
It's Trailer.
Oh, fuck, I forgot,
22
okay.
minutes was out for me. Brent
Okay,
Budd
let's
is
switch out
like
Trailer Park Boys with Kenny versus Benny. Sorry, Kenny Hawks.
Trailer
I
Park
love that.
Boys. Trailer Park Boys.
Well, see,
We're
no,
gonna
Funnier than everything aforementioned. Trailer Park Boys.
see, I switched it out because I partially agreed and I couldn't deny it.
What about Kilkenny or
Letterkenny.
one?
Yeah,
Letterkenny?
Oh yeah,
good.
I
That's
never
just
watched
like-
that.
it's like Trailer Park Boys light, basically.
Ew.
They take a little more artistic risk, which I appreciate, but it doesn't make me laugh as much as Leahy charging around.
Ladies the best. I am the liquor.
It really is like found footage because I watched that as a kid and I was like, "Is this a real trailer park? Is this a documentary?" 'Cause I didn't know the difference.
It feels like a documentary.
It
So,
It
and
feels
the
like it
thing
was
is,
filmed down
and
the
it's
street.
not, and if it was, it's not that far off.
really, yes. Like with the hatch science and Bubbles just having cats everywhere. I'm
Yeah,
like, I feel
Bubbles,
like
really.
I've met these people before.
And fucking rum and coke. I like to do some coke and fucking drive around. You know, that's what I do. What do you do?
All right, last question for the group.
I think the fun. Sorry. No, I didn't get to say enough. I think the funniest thing is that Ricky thinks of himself as being like this boss, and he just has like seriously like the shittiest attitude in the world.
Oh my god! But he's got the best heart of all of them. I think Ricky actually has the best heart out of all the characters.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You'd like to think it's Bubbles because he's all
No, I
cuddly
think
and
it's
cute.
Julian.
He's got
Actually,
the shack with the cats in it.
yeah, I think
I
Julian
think
has
it
the
is.
biggest heart.
Oh, you
No,
think
the
he
point-
does?
The point being that they're like, and they are technically more badass than people like J-Rock, but that's only like in juxtaposition. Compared to the rest of the world, they're still complete fucking losers.
J-Rock, by the way, for anyone not familiar, J-Rock is this ridiculous white dude who thinks he's a rapper.
I actually wound up loving it.
He's got
I hated him so much at first, and
But
then I
that's
wound
the
up.
point. Yeah, that's because he's ironic. Were you a white rapper growing up, Jake?
No,
You're an
but
Eminem fan.
like all honkies from the suburbs, I love rap dearly. It's funny. I actually, even though Eminem's like from my area, and I get
fuck
so
yes.
annoyed. I get so annoyed by him though.
Well, what's your area? Jake is like Dearborn kind of area?
Yeah, you actually know. Yeah, Dearborn, which is right next to Detroit, and
Yeah.
it just
Oh, fuck, dude. I did shows in Harpo's where we thought we were going to get killed. Not that that's Dearborn, but.
no,
I've
it's not really
been-
Detroit either. Like Detroit's it's not economically well off, but like you're not going to get shot unless you were asking for it.
Fuck the
Like
car company.
No, exactly. But
They're
you have
reasonable.
to find.
Fuck GMC.
You have to find these
Ford.
pockets where it's dangerous.
I gotta ask this: who is your, and hear me out, full question? Who is your Trailer Park Boys spirit animal? It's not. It's like if you associate more with a wolf or a tiger.
I guess
Who's-
Bubbles. I have
Bubbles?
to say Bubbles,
Yeah.
don't I?
Who's the hamburger guy? I'm forgetting in the moment. Leahy's lover. Rick. No. Who the
No, I forget his name too. God damn it.
Trailer Park?
He always has his shirt off.
So
Every
ladies
time
in
Ricky
the-
tells
in
him to
the-
put a shirt on. Every time Ricky tells him to put his shirt on.
Yes.
I forgot his name.
Randy.
With Randy, yes. So
Yeah.
does Randy
He
have
was
the
pretty
pet,
funny
or-
too.
That's my spirit animal. I thought it was Leahy, it's not Randy.
He's a bit of
That was
okay, but
amazing.
are you sure you want to go that route? Because he's quite the sub.
Oh, so we're
He's
gonna,
a
we're
bit
gonna
of
take
like
a
a lapdog,
one of the
eh?
characters on Trailer Park Boys and say that one of the characters is my spirit animal.
Yeah.
I think
Okay,
that's
Leahy.
offensive to both Native
Leahy.
Americans and white people.
Leahy's my spirit animal.
There.
Oh damn,
Look.
we got a speed date ready to happen. I think.
Maybe. Because I mean, if you had to boil me down into one sentence, who I am at the core of my being, it's cheeseburger slut. Absolutely.
I'm half drunk right now.
No, there
you
we
guys
go.
think it would be fun if you guys both like practiced off screen, like those characters. And
Oh,
I
I
don't know
would. I
if you-
can't actually do a Randy impression. I can try. But
Oh, Mr. Leahy. No, do it, Jake, do it.
it's just one of those things. I just don't, it doesn't come naturally to me. I'd have to like listen to him for a
and
while.
he's not
but
your
I will.
spirit animal, but whatever.
But his
doesn't-
the things
okay,
that bring him joy. Walking around. Well, I don't like walking around shirtless.
I'm just trying
there-
to. Sometimes we have some amazing actors come in and perform for us, and I want us to be able to respond in kind.
Oh, Looney
So-
Tunes 9000. Absolutely. Yeah.
And I
Is it
wanted
valid?
to encourage you maybe to try a method acting exercise because it might actually help you in debate.
So you're saying I should go prostitute myself for cheeseburgers? I
Yes,
can't
in
tell
a
you.
trailer park
Take it as far as
with
you
the
want.
landlord.
I'm not telling you how far
for
to
as
take
much
it.
booze. You've got Leahy.
I'm just pointing you in the
showing
direction. I'm not telling you how far to
$1,400
go.
to say, hey, get some booze. We're going to take this car. We don't know who's going to end up in the trunk.
I mean, look, I gotta respond to Tinkerbell here. Yes, I will hooer for cheeseburgers. But look, it's not that Eminem isn't great. It's that Eminem is great. It's just I don't like it that much. Like I like it a little bit, but he's everywhere. And when people are like, "Oh, he's so great," I can't say he's not. It's a fact. He is. He is very good. I can't.
He's
even
not
say
everywhere
Eminem?
anymore. He's not
That's
everywhere
true.
anymore.
And I've learned to like him more now that he's a little less popular. It's just like
Yeah.
anytime somebody heard that, like where I was from, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, Eminem's from there." I'd be like, "So's Aretha Franklin. So is
Yeah, well,
Smokey
you know.
Robinson. So is a lot of other people I would prefer to talk about." but
So is yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh, I want to say Kiss, but no, they just did it. They just did this.
They're Detroit. Yeah.
Kiss, are they? Are they? Or are they New York? But they had Detroit Rock City. No, but Eminem, I mean, he had, the big song is Lose Yourself. But I think the best song is like Slim Shady. I'm the real
shit.
Slim Shady. That's
No,
probably the best
till I
one.
collapse. Till I
I've
collapse.
been saying Kiss is from Detroit because of Detroit Rock City for like 30 years. And
But
you
I think
just
they're
now
New York.
told-
I think
I've
they're a
been-
bunch of New York Jewish
are, you're
guys
right.
from fucking Long Island or something, or Queens or where. Yeah, no, I think they're not.
Actually, no, I take that back. Square Dance is better than Till I Collapse.
Ooh, okay, noted. Well, gang.
Jake, you would like that song. It's really political. Like he rips on Bush.
Ooh, I'm in. You've sold me. I'll give it a shot.
Fuck yeah, I'm down with that.
Obsessive Audio. Do you want to plug anything? We're gonna go to the next guest shortly. Is there anything you want to plug?
No plugs, but I will say that I do want to start a channel soon that probably won't be Obsessive Audio. Because if you look at my Obsessive Audio channel, it's going to be like, you can go there and by all means follow me, but it's going to be about audio software and plugins and maybe how to mix this or how to mix that, or if something sounds like this. Sometimes I'll get into dialogue and podcasts and microphones and that sort of stuff. But I think I need to start another channel that's more political. And I think I want it to be aggressive with like a lot of fucking swearing and like a lot of yelling at people.
All right,
because
it doesn't feel like your vibe, but maybe that's what would make it work.
Yeah, I mean I was listening to. I have a whole bunch of podcasts. I listen to a lot of podcasts. Everything from communist leftists to never Trumper, ex-Republicans, the fuckers that got us into this mess. I'll listen to all of them, but the ones I like are like really taking it down to the floor. And it's like, you fucking asshole, you fucking stupid person. And it's like, it's not language I normally use. Well,
right.
no, but actually, no, you know what it is? It is language I normally use. But, yeah, something a little
Fair
bit,
enough.
edgy.
All right, man. Well, thanks for stopping by. It was good talking to you again. I'll see you on the next
Always, Jake. Always good. Melanie, awesome, as always.
See you, brother, man. The only way I know how to end these is to kick the guest, and I really hope that StreamYard isn't like tracking that or something. We shall see.
I don't know. I would probably, because I'm worried, I would just do like the opposite and just make it as like uncomfortable and quick as possible, quick and painless, kind of like rip the Band-Aid off.
Fair.
I lost
Fair
my
enough.
audio. One sec. I'm losing everything.
All
Having to
good.
collapse.
Have the collapse. I'll bring up our next guest and say hello. Domenico, hello,
there.
my friend. How you feeling?
I'm feeling very good. Thank you. Can you hear me good quality?
Yes, sir. Do
Wonderful.
you have a topic that you want to pitch us on for 2 minutes and 30 seconds, or talk about, argue for 2 minutes and 30 seconds?
Well, for me, the argument is easy. It's just mentioned in the chat briefly the fact that we have. Thank you for sharing that 9 U.S. Supreme Court justices with however much power they're supposed to have around 300 to 40 or 380 million Americans, that's insanity.
Yeah.
And it's just it's the worst kind of like empathy that we're supposed to try to have in a power for any nation or any country, let alone the United States of America.
Well, I'm going to put 2:30 on the clock. Pitch us on it. I will try. I will search my soul for something I disagree with you on in your arguments. But in full disclosure, it's not likely because I think that's so. But let's find out. 2:30 is going on the clock. Damn it. Here we go. Yeah, oh, that works. And whenever you're ready.
Letty.
There you go.
Yes, okay. So I already said the first main point. The second main point that I'd like to share about the because that's where I tuned in. Basically, we were talking about the on the filibuster specifically. I am for removing the filibuster. I read the United States Constitution. Fun fact for humor, I actually started out doing it in an Elizabeth Warren voice impression for some reason, just whatever reason. And then I was just reading the whole thing, trying to comprehend it with my maximum 186. No, that's not my IQ. 168 maximum IQ. Emotional IQ, that too. So I read the first Constitution of the United States of America and then understood as much as I could, but then I also was like, had my own ideas of how to improve it. Saw as many flaws as I could, should, would, and will when I read it. And then, yeah, so I was just like, okay, basically just to keep it concise, I reiterate, we should, I mean, in normal talk, pack the courts, absolutely, but just have as many good Supreme Court justices, not just 9, to preside over that many millions of Americans' lives. That's just incorrect. It's way too flawed. It's only asking for trouble to run a nation and a country like that. And we've lived that. The filibuster, just to keep that simple, everything medium complicated in between, I say do away with it. Some things, maybe some other, I understand the function of it on like a minority rule, because sometimes in life, just because a majority is wrong, the minority is not wrong, then that's when it's a good time to have something like the filibuster. But as it stands now, I say do away with it.
Fair enough. I will attempt to recap your argument, if that's all right, in 30 seconds. Here it is. You're saying that it benefits us to get rid of the filibuster and also to pack the Supreme Court in common terms. Because they represent a increasingly large amount of people, and they're not supposed to. It's become out of proportion. So it's simply as the country grows, the Supreme Court should as well. Is that accurate?
Very relatively accurate, yes.
Cool. Well, I gotta tell you, I think you may win by default on this because we're at synthesis already. Yeah, I agree. I just agree. I don't even have a nitpick for that.
Okay, I can mock debate this.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, nice to meet you, Miss Melanie Cosmic Fox. Very
You
much
as
so.
well.
All right, sorry. Let me try that again. All right, Melanie, I'm going to put 2:30 on the clock.
You can press the 5 button, and it'll bring you directly to halfway through the video every time on your keyboard. 5 button on your keyboard.
Rather frustratingly, the video I'm using, I'll change this for the future. The video I'm using is not exactly 5 minutes long.
Oh, I see.
All right. Whenever you're ready.
Yeah, so I'm going to fall back on the first argument I heard for everything not pertaining to this Supreme Court. So things like the filibuster and stuff like that. If we do anything that gives us power within our term, we also give the Republicans power in the next time that they control the seats. I'm not really like, I don't have any examples to go off and stuff like that, but that does have some merit to it, in my opinion. Secondly, I think the argument against the packing the Supreme Court should be that we as Democrats don't want to be hypocrites. We want to signal to Republicans this is not the way to go. This is how we do things properly, and thus we seem better by them than default. This will push more centrist voters away from the Republican Party and into voting for Democrats. I think a lot of people get pushed away when they think that Democrats are trying to fight, especially centrists, by the way, when Democrats are trying to fight Republicans. And that sense of like there's conflict there just makes them not want to vote as much, or makes them focus more on local politics and stuff like that. But ultimately, we do need voters to focus on the presidential election and more federal kind of outcomes, like who's in the Senate and stuff like that. And that's like that's all I need, by the way.
Hey, there we go. All right. Fair enough. Domenico, one moment. Can you recap her arguments in about 30 seconds?
I will do my best in 30 seconds.
All right. Whenever you start talking, I'll click the button.
Okay, so I would like to start off by saying that the main word that came to my mind when I was listening was I concur. There was one little finite section where it was like how like the Democrats do something better than the Republicans, and I was just like rewording it in my mind about like just kind of how we do it. I agree, but I'm also like, okay, sensitive to like how that could be inflammatory to the reality of those over on that right side are. It's just the reality. So and also like the point you're that's all I have.
Indeed. Melanie, how do you think you did? Would you like to recap your own argument?
I just want to move the discussion forward.
Fair. Okay. Let's put 5 minutes on here. You guys can talk back and forth for that amount of time, and let
Ladies
me know
first, please.
you want to. Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So let's try working this in reverse a bit. Do you think it makes sense?
One request before you continue, please. Please start with like questions that like only you can answer, and then continue, please.
Questions
However
only
you
who can answer.
However you want answers that only you can, and then like whatever you want to do and need to do after that, please.
A question that only I can, this feels like a riddle. A question that only I can answer.
I don't follow that actually. What is it?
Are you trying to figure out like my secret questions for when I try to sign back into Hotmail and forget my password?
No, we don't understand what the request
genuinely
is.
It's just okay. I'll if I may, like
Yeah.
A close family relative shared with me. She taught me a very like profound life lesson, if you will, that like the natural form of the lady's communication frequently starts with questions and then continues with answers.
I can do that. I just the whole only I can answer thing was a bit weird because I don't know what you know.
Then also, that's why I said just to take like.
Oh, we lost audio there for a second. Well, I'm going to make an executive decision. Freeform, as you please. And whenever you're ready.
We should make sure we have Dom's audio back
Good
first.
point. Can you say something, Dom?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, great.
All right. Whenever you'd like.
Hit it.
So why don't we want to be hypocrites in the political spectrum? Well, because we're doing diplomacy, and with being diplomatic, you want to kind of disperse conflict. I think a lot of people who are politically literate, especially, they see what's going on in, politics, and they may not understand everything that's going on, but through like the media that they've seen and maybe some civics courses that they've taken, they know that diplomacy is really what gets stuff done. And when they see conflict, they see that as a breakdown of normal function. And there are a lot of voters who care about maintaining the function of government and stuff like that. While going forward. So that by the way, I'm working in reverse. So that was my second point that I'm starting with. If you want to respond.
Oh, yes. Okay, so this is focusing after concentrating, but not too much on the part of like why
we lost you again.
Oh, okay. Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay.
Yes.
Avoiding hypocrisy. It's imperative. It's just morally correct, morally just. It's like it's the way to go.
I thought you were arguing that we should do the things that. Okay. Did I misinterpret your argument? Because you were in agreement with us that we should, like for example, pack the Supreme Court, right?
Yes, left.
But you understand, like, we also object when the right does that.
Yes.
And that was like, so your argument. So we're still, I don't know. I feel like you're not arguing your point strongly enough, because I thought your argument was that we should be hypocrites and pack the Supreme Court. Jake, these people are too agreeable.
Chrissy.
Oh, sorry, you cut out again.
I mean,
Yeah, we got hit with the
Okay,
mic
hold on.
again. Sure.
Where do you find these
I mean,
people?
if-
Like,
if
I
you-
swear to God, all I can find online is like disagreeable people, and all you find are agreeable people.
I
It's the
love the
weirdest
Wicca
thing.
community. It's a good place. I'm glad you're here with us, my friend.
You're gonna
minds
need
think-
me.
That's
So
true.
eventually,
That's
you're all
true
gonna
from
like come
Rick.
across. You're gonna like inflame Destiny's community, and I'm gonna be the one leading the charge because everyone else is like, I kind of want to agree with him. Actually, Jake is kind of really shitty.
Well, that's fair.
It's not. You're not shitty at all.
I was a sassy bitch earlier today. I jumped on another show.
Oh no,
Yeah.
no one like that. That's like the worst
But I-
thing you can be on the internet.
Then we became friends anyway. So oh well.
I find it's sorry. And were you gonna ask Dom something?
How's the mic doing? Is all.
And this
But
is coming from Canada, correct?
I think so.
Love for
Yeah.
love for Canada. Love for Canada.
Okay,
Indeed.
yeah. I'm Canadian. I don't say "a" that often, I think, but
You're missing a great
I noticed.
opportunity. It's a fantastic word, but I understand. I say y'all. I'm not even from the South. I say y'all just because.
hey, aren't you from Aren't you from the same city as Eminem?
Burn your house down. I don't even know where your house is. I'm gonna buy you a nice house and show you a picture
In
of it. then burn it
Minecraft,
down.
in Minecraft. Come on.
I guess.
I've only never played
The
it.
TOS bots are they have their finger on the button.
Wicked community, this is a good time to mention that memberships and super chats will go to things like me buying Melanie a house that I can then burn down out of petty fury.
Oh,
Now that I know
yes,
that I may not live in it, I may not accept your gift.
You won't even have an opportunity. You'll just get a text message of a big ball of flames and be like, sorry.
Oh, I pictured like Bugs Bunny like taking the house on the crane and then just plopping it on top of somebody. And like if that's not bad enough, you have to blow it up afterwards too.
Oh, jeez.
Bugs Bunny is definitely in my top 3 for sure.
Yeah, when it's not being racist or sexist, it's great.
What? Oh God,
Agreed.
wait. I don't want to know the truth. I want to live in blessed ignorance.
It's
of
not
bugs.
really that bad compared to a lot of other things, but it had, like especially Mickey Mouse, it had its moments.
Wasn't it weird how old timey cartoons would be like mallet on the head, banana peel on the ground, and by the way, the Irish are drunks, and frying pan. Like it was just like, why? Why?
Because that was literally their sense of humor, just
I guess.
to laugh at that
Yeah.
stuff. At least 5% of the time.
And the Irish are filthy, drunken people. Domenico, is there any? Did you want to keep the debate going or call it there?
If okay, so we got into the serious stuff, left off the soccer ball kick because I do love soccer. I was not gonna lie.
Fair enough.
And I tried to do and then keep a little bit of the fun balance there too. So we touched on packing the court and the filibuster and
Yeah,
I
I was
would
just
s-
confused because I thought you were arguing that we should be hypocrites, but then you agreed that we shouldn't be. And then I'm just
no, we should not at all. I am adamantly opposed to being hypocrites.
see, like I'm making the mock argument, so this is uncomfortable that he's agreeing with me. I don't know what
yes,
to
and
do with this.
I did remember that part.
Surprisingly effective. But Domenico, you are saying that we should pack the Supreme Court, correct?
On not just the Supreme Court, but any court, like the local level courts also, just like the
Well, that's a given
more
at
the-
this point.
the more the merrier, like the more
And especially like when you hear about all the times that like one of Trump's elected judges makes some either like a decision for him or especially funny against him. And it's like all the time in the news. It has an impact.
this is only
Fair.
the second time I've ever been on, and thank you again for having me, Wicked Community. Much love
Oh
to
yeah, man.
for sure.
We love you.
And
Thanks
and
for
like
coming.
and French. Oh yes, for sure. The first time I was just saying like the whole Trump thing, like I didn't see it coming when it came, and I was like, wow, like how did I not see that coming?
Yeah,
Yeah.
same. Well, we got a super chat here from my good friend Donald James X. Who can resist Yosemite Sam versus Bugs? It's the funniest stuff ever, and I never detected any racism. And Bugs was for the LGBTQ plus community. Oh, I'm sure there was racism. I'm sure there was.
Oh,
I think Elmer
For me-
Fudd was funnier, actually.
Really?
I didn't really
Yep.
find
Fair.
Elmer Fudd very funny at
And the
all.
ultimate funniest character, like I was saying, like who the funniest person against
Thank you.
Bugs, funniest character overall would be the. Now I can't think of it, Foghorn Leghorn. Jesus,
I
I'll
think
say
for
I
me,
do
its
say
funniest
I'll
chances are
say
probably
close
still
a set
Bugs
directly
Bunny
on my
for
nut
me,
sack.
but
Yeah.
I respect the Foghorn Leghorn for sure.
Oh my god, yeah. I basically just
And I was
steal.
supposed to totally be.
I think he was
behind
also
it,
the
so-
most racist. Now that I think about it.
No.
Just a coincidence, by the way, total coincidence. But yeah, just full disclosure.
Well, my top three for sure. It goes like Bugs Bunny, Runner, and then Speedy Gonzalez.
Speedy Gonzalez was great. He was great. I will make no apologies for him. He was a fantastic character. Also, Roadrunner, same basic gimmick, fantastic character. I guess I just like really fast characters. I don't know why.
And
It's funny.
Tweety Bird was pretty good, too.
In front of those
Yes.
ones, I'm trying to find like the girl characters, the ladies.
That didn't come until Space Jam.
They're
Oh
like the
my
prequel.
God, yeah.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
They introduced us to like Babs. A Roadrunner. I never saw Roadrunner like on a date.
She never had any lines, was the thing, and that really pissed feminists off. She never had any lines prior to Space Jam.
Oh no,
And it's
really?
debatable if it's even her. Like it's just the same color bunny, but not exactly the same
Oh,
drawn, like not drawn the same. So
who
Well, I
who
mean,
was
she
that
had
little
the
red-haired
look.
girl that was really bad with animals? Nah.
huh?
All right.
Are you sure that wasn't Bugs Bunny in Awake?
No, I'm never sure. It doesn't matter who we're talking about. I'm never sure it's not Bugs Bunny in a wig. Could be Barry Obama. Doesn't matter. I'm like, well,
Damn it,
there's
he's
always-
on to me. Fuck.
Oh,
Ah! All
Yes.
right, Dominico, thank you for coming by. Is there anything you
Oh,
want
you're
to
welcome.
plug?
Oh, just I
Well,
know
you're
it
running
said
for
in the chat,
president.
like
Looks like.
oh
In the
yes,
future.
I my first go, it's very like ambitious, if you will, but I typed it out in the chat one, like I was like, the chat was like, don't keep repeating that. I'm like, I didn't understand why, but I was just like, save like 8
We just
billion
don't like
women's lives,
spamming.
4 billion men's lives, 800 million United States American women's lives, 100 million American men's lives. So trying to like
Well, thank you, my friend, for
save like
swinging by.
13.2 billion lives, and that's what I'm about. Like basically like a president who's about saving lives instead of ending lives is what I'm trying to share with you.
I'll tell you, it'd be an
Okay.
improvement on what we have currently. Thank you for swinging by, my friend. We'll see you on the next
Yes.
one.
Oh, yes, for sure. Thank you. Have a good forever.
Have a good one.
We have another guest waiting, and folks, I'm going to take off I'm going to unpin the message because this will be our last guest. It is.
I'm getting tired.
Right? We got that stamina, but oh man. We started doing late shows. This is Logan. Hello, Logan.
Hello, how are you?
Fantastic. How are you, sir?
I'm all right. How are you, Melanie Cosmic Fox? You doing okay?
I'm good. How are you?
Well,
I'm
we
all
got
right.
there already. So we're JD dancing it already.
Right.
All right. Do you have a topic that you'd like to discuss?
I do. Is my mic doing all right? I just have this wired headphone with mic
Yep.
attachment.
Yeah, it sounds
Great.
pretty good.
Just I thought as like a bonus for production value, I have a heart monitor attached to my
Ooh.
arm. If you would like
Oh.
that we can use.
Yeah.
Anyway, the question
Stole
that I
my
have.
idea. I never told you it, but you stole my idea.
The question is about nuclear power as a transition off of fossil fuels.
All right. Well, make your argument in whichever direction you want,
Great.
and put 2:30 on the clock.
So I live in Texas. I'm one of the Texans on the panel tonight, or in the chat tonight. What Richard Linklater called the carcinogenic coast is where I grew up. And I have a lot of people who are in my family and friends who worked in oil, but that was not a thing that I thought was a good choice. I had friends who also grew up in the same area tell me recently how much they were interested in switching to nuclear power. My concerns are, and I've done my best to make notes. My concerns are the risk of just having such a place, how we dispose of any waste, and how we get the waste to the place where we can dispose of it. At this point, I only know that there is one site in America, I could be wrong on that, in Colorado, where we are secure in putting waste into a mountain, that it will be safe for long enough and not harm anyone because it's deep enough in the mountain, that it will not cause issue. That's what I've read from the government. However, the things that I've argued with my friends about on this topic are, how do we get the waste to Colorado? Are we going to go by rail? We've seen lots of rail accidents moving oil, moving other chemicals. When it gets derailed, it happens. Nobody wants that, but it happens. But then also, if we're going to use nuclear as a transition power to get America off of oil and coal, that transition will create a larger need for disposal. So we're already putting nuclear waste into Colorado's mountain. If we actually went through with this, we're going to have a lot more waste coming through. I'm not pro oil. I'm not pro non-renewable resources. I think that nuclear is maybe a tangent that we should not be dealing with for those reasons. Thank you.
Well, thank you, sir. I can definitely do a recap here. I want to first compliment you that for wearing a shirt that matches our background. Thank you for planning this with me ahead of time.
Oh, I wish that was the case. I bought some shirts a couple months ago. This is my least favorite.
Fair enough. I'll offer this to Melanie as well. Would you like to do the recap and argument, or shall I?
Oh, is Melanie there? Did we lose her?
Oh, I'm more in favor of his argument, so I think maybe if you want to do this, you can.
Fair enough. Absolutely. All right, Melanie,
All
we'll
right,
see
Jake.
you on the other side, or in a few minutes. All right. Here's my recap. Let me know if I get it correctly. You are saying that although you are not for fossil fuels, you believe that there's too much danger associated with nuclear power, including transportation on our already unreliable rail system to Colorado. Would you say that's about
Correct.
accurate?
I would also just add that I also think that the other major transportation vehicle would be the roads, which I also think is a terrible place to put nuclear waste.
Yeah, broadly speaking, it's that it would require us to pass nuclear waste over populated areas. There's no way
Correct.
around that. Okay. All right, putting 2:30 on the clock. Here is the counter argument I'm going to make that will break my friend Sandy's heart.
Good luck.
Thank you, sir. I don't think you're incorrect about anything that you said there. I just think that it is arguable that even with those faults accepted, the benefits outweigh them. For one thing, my understanding is that 90% of the material used in a fuel rod can be recycled. So for every 10 fuel rods that you use, 9 can be used again. And that means it stretches out our non-renewable resource a good long way. Another thing that I like about it is that it's a non-renewable resource, in that there's a finite amount of damage we can do if there's any damage to be done. And lastly, I think it is a great dragon to let out of the cave to fight the other dragons. I think that nuclear power means a lot of jobs for folks as an argument piece alone. And also, it's a real simple answer to what do you do at nighttime when there's no wind. We have nuclear plants, we've got geothermal plants, and we have dams. Not every place has access to geothermal plants. Not every place has access to enough running water for a dam. But the nuclear plants can be theoretically built anywhere. I think that's all the time that I need. It provides power, and that's what we need, for power that won't kill us. You want to do? Can you do a recap of what I've said?
Yes, sir. The benefits of nuclear from your argument are that your understanding is that 9 of the 10 rods can be recycled, and that there's a finite damage because of that, and also I looked at my wrong notes. I took
That's
notes
okay.
and then I put them aside. And also that anyway, that's enough. That's enough.
Yeah,
How
there's a
close
finite
is
amount of damage, and it's something other than fossil fuels. I think the
Correct,
fossil
yes.
fuels are killing us much more quickly than accidents will. You want to do? You got it. Do you want to do the crosstalk?
Sure.
Cool. So yeah, have I swayed you at all? And if not, why?
2 points, and I just remembered the other thing I was unable to put out when I was looking at my notes. You mentioned jobs. And I understand that because growing up on the coast of Texas, almost everybody's dad was working in a refinery of some point. And so I don't know the ins and outs of that, but it seems like a similar type of job. My long accepted idea about what is more important than the other, if you put me to a lie detector and said, what is more important, the economy or the living of human beings, I'm not going to pick the economy.
True.
And I feel with that with oil, and in a more catastrophic way, I feel that with nuclear. Now, there's not pipelines for nuclear waste. There's not pipelines for the materials needed to create the fusion. But when something goes wrong, it goes wrong way worse than when oil or coal.
True. Let me offer
Secondly,
this though.
oh sure, go ahead.
There's a defensive benefit to that. Not that the U.S. frequently needs this, but a lot harder to invade a country where disturbing it means it explodes.
Great. So you just hit on what my second argument was going to be. Where are we going to mine the materials needed to create the nuclear facility? Do we already have enough? Maybe we do, and I'm unaware. Maybe we already have enough uranium. That could be something we have in stores that I'm unaware of. But there are a lot of countries that are not America. We're going to go and take materials from. Maybe we'll give them some money, but we're not going to be too clear on the workers' rights in those places. And we're not going to care too much about the safety of those workers either, if we look at the history of other fuels.
So we agree that if the U.S. transitioned to nuclear power, the scarcity of uranium would go up, yes?
Sure, yeah, because we'd be using a lot of it, yeah.
Yeah. I would say that I would prefer our greed to our bloodlust. And I would rather see uranium used to light up houses than to make nuclear weapons. I want it more difficult for countries around the world to get uranium because they already sold it to the U.S. so we can power our electric cars. Okay.
I may be getting far afield. I can't wait for Melanie Cosmic Fox to point that out. There's other options when it comes to consumption. And this is a hard one to get America to agree to. But what if we didn't use as much?
True. But for the things we do use, the question is, how do we power it?
Sure. I agree with that too, Jake.
I agree with the drawbacks to nuclear power in general, but I think as a means of transition, I think it's a lot. I think it offers an immediate solution, which is better, not best, but better than what we currently have, and I think that's worth a risk. Oh God, I hope I didn't hurt you just then.
No, I already have high blood pressure. This was just a bit the whole time for that. Not the argument wasn't, but the prop was. So I think concessions will have to be made regardless of what fuel we transition to, and it's a matter of what are we willing to accept? Are we willing to accept that there may be times of day when we won't have power for our devices, even if it's a couple hours in the middle of the night? Is it a choice between we can do everything we need to do already, but there's a possibility of a nuclear problem with waste? Or, with the time I have left, what if we just didn't fucking have AI and didn't need all that power? Okay, you got me at the end.
Keep no nuclear power necessary. Just ban AI because it's and not even for political reasons. It just annoys me. That's the only reason I need. Melanie, what are your thoughts on our debate? Riz, review us.
please.
It's funny actually. The better people do, the more notes I take. So Jake, at the end of your intro, you kind of straw personed your own argument. I forget exactly what you said.
Job.
But you had taken you said, oh yeah, you said it was about producing power, but it's really about a whole range of benefits that you're trying to defend. So if he was bad faith, he could have just honed in on that precisely. Don, maybe take quicker notes on the recap, just like 2 or 3 words, and then get good at like firing them off as quickly as possible. It's very specific for this sort of thing, but you never know when you might need to do it again, especially on like panels where people are always trying to get in as soon as they can and stuff like that. So these are just like now more on the argument side, just general suggestions. Might be some things that I might argue, might also just be like I am trying to give both you some advice here. So Jake, you might want to consider what other industries might be affected by Don, or I have Don written down for some reason. Your name is Logan. I'm so sorry.
Correct. It's fine.
If I say Don, I'm really sorry.
I know who you meant.
But by Logan's
most
anti-nuclear
Canadian you've ever
policies.
sounded.
So we might all not want nuclear war here or nuclear weapons, but we have to agree that like just disarming the US out of nowhere might create like a power vacuum for somewhere like Russia. And to get rid of nuclear waste entirely, you need to do that, right? So how far are you going to take this? Is nuclear power that much bigger of a producer and waster than the nuclear weapons industry? I've heard arguments from both sides, to be honest, that it isn't. Both isn't. Don should ask Jake, or sorry, I did already. Logan should ask Jake what it might take to change his mind. That's because this is a more open-ended question, so it's harder to know exactly where to attack. So putting Jake to kind of put the onus on him for you to prove something is a really good way forward. Jake, you might have it's speculation, but he brought up that we may already have uranium stockpiles, and you should have pounced on that and been like, well, if we already have those stockpiles, we should use them, right? That would have been a really good chance to get in on that.
Great.
Logan, try being ready to suggest alternatives and understand their pros and cons better, especially before your next attempt to debate this. This is always going to come up. It's unavoidable. I know this from my own experience of debating nuclear. I'm actually generally against developing nuclear, but I do want to see us develop and secure our current technology for it, improve the efficiency and capacity of currently existing stations. So I've had to debate this. I've also had to debate for alternatives because they will try to tell you that we just don't have enough. That's not necessarily true, by the way, for other reasons, but I'll let you figure that out. And Jake, you could describe the process of the nuclear waste logistics better, because I think Logan was really like opening himself up to have it explained by someone who does understand it. And that could really change his mind if you're able to describe it in a way that makes him feel reassured that it's safer.
Or if I were able to understand it.
It's just like, yeah, when you prep for these sort of debate things, and this is on the fly, so this is all just, in the future, but when you debate these things, these are like the niche sort of scientific communication that can really change someone's mind. And I haven't always done that perfectly myself, but I've certainly learned the hard way that you should.
Well, I have to say the argument that got me the most, like me, the person who could be swayed, was said right off the bat, where Logan said, no matter how efficiently you get, at some point you've got to transfer a big load of nuclear waste around the country. And just the facts are, we're not good at transporting anything around anywhere. And
but the natural response would be, we're already doing that for nuclear weapons, right? And for nuclear subs and stuff like that. And one of the
makes me nervous. I'm just saying, like, the argument that made me most like, ooh, it was that.
Just, I think maybe more on your heels kind of thinking, you seem to respond to like too broad of arguments, and it's better sometimes to hone in on something that gives you really kind of like a strong, not way out, but a way forward, if you know what I mean. Like if you want to put your opponent on defense, if that's what you're trying to do, then you're definitely looking for the weakest argument they just made every time. That gives you the strongest kind of leverage.
I got you. All right. Noted. If I come across a scoundrel, then
No.
I'll bear that
Oh,
in
okay.
mind.
No,
Oh,
I'm
we're
just
good.
saying
We're
sometimes
good.
it's tedious to respond to the entirety of someone's argument every time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. Man, that was a lot of fun, Logan. Thank you.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate it from both of you. I took notes on the critique.
Aw.
I will.
Well, I'm glad you like
will,
it. Seriously, I don't take myself
Oh,
that
sure.
seriously, but if it helps, then I'm glad.
Right. As far from what I understand, you've had much more debate experience than I have. Any debate
More
that
than
I've
I have
ever
more
had is
debates than I can count, but most of them like I didn't even prepare for, right? Because it's hard to set up
Sure.
like these event type debates where you have months
Yeah.
to prepare. It's mostly I just hop into panels and have to like
Yeah.
do everything on the fly. Oh, and I forgot to mention that, but
Oh.
Jake, you had more chances to like you could have even brought up like a diagram of the nuclear disposal process because those probably exist. And just like do like inductive logic from there just to explain it, right? Because you don't need like full expertise. You just need to be able to walk them through it. And that might even give them a point to be like, that's where I don't like that. And then you can start to think like brainstorm just on the fly. What are the alternatives to like,
Fair.
how can I reassure them that this will be okay? Because that's often what I do from like a STEM perspective. People will bring up like, oh, I'm afraid of this thing. It's like, well, how can we improve it for you? How can we make it better?
Yeah. That makes sense. I'll put that.
It's very
in the bag.
technical, but that's and when you have more time, especially, that's when that sort of thing works better. So,
Fair.
I don't know if you want me to give critiques that help people come back to speed debate and do speed debates better, or just general debates.
Ooh, yeah. Do a speed debate, a specific one.
Oh goddamn, no! Well, that was just like all the things about being speedier on here. Really, like Don should take better notes.
And also just you as a person, like what would you? I'm not even saying for this one, just like broadly speaking, just things you would have liked to hear more about, or missed opportunities, or whatever. Exactly what you just said was fantastic.
Well, yeah, just like be snappier, hone in on things, and try to pin your opponent down. So that way, like they can't make many more arguments and kind of put you into the weeds. Is all really.
Well,
Dead
yes,
air is
ma'am.
no good. I felt that the whole time.
But like you wouldn't need to do that with Logan. He was totally fine, and that's why
He
I feel
was
bad saying that.
fantastic,
It's just in a speed debate, you have to be ready to do that. I guess is what I'm saying.
All right, fair enough. Logan, thank you for joining us. I hope we see you on the
Thank
next one, my friend.
It was nice. Good job. Good debate, by the way. Great job.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I hope this helped in the future of this format.
Heck
Have
yes.
a great night.
Bye, everybody.
Fantastic. We had great guests tonight, man. That was neat.
Yeah, once they start coming, they really start like it's like a train, eh?
It is very trained. Like I have foul jokes, which I'll make at a later date.
No. So that's what I almost said. Once they start coming, they really start coming. And I was like, I saw your little smirk. I was like, nope, I'm saying a train instead.
Well, I want to thank you all for joining me on the third time I've had a train run on me. It was a lot of fun, and I resisted for a full 20 seconds. It was a lot of fun.
I'm proud of you.
I think I'm sure we're gonna keep playing with the format, but I think the core is good. I've been satisfied with the fact that at the very least, people feel like they've made something akin to their point in a very short amount of time. It's not easy to do, but
I'm surprised nobody was like, nope, that's not what I said. Try again, just like over and over again, just to filibuster.
Yeah.
We're gonna eventually get that, and
I'm trying to brace myself. You're right. I almost want to go to a community where we know there's going to be dishonest people, and when we are prepared for it, perhaps have something ready, because I think it could be very, very fun.
Unrelated, so I'm not actually. I don't want to give people the impression that this is her community. I think you might have even been in touch with her something before, or on her panel. I don't remember, but she's doing a panel now that's like an open panel. So I was going to wait for you to finish it and then ask if you wanted to just pop on real quick, say hi,
Raging
get your face
Tomato?
out there. Yeah,
I was
she
on it before.
she has
this
a
show.
lovely community. Oh, you're on it
does.
for. Wait, you're on it for.
No, I
this
was on
show?
it before this show. Yeah.
Oh, wait, what?
You showed me
I didn't even
Raging
see
Tomato.
you.
You showed me Raging Tomato and said I should look
Okay.
at it like as market research, and you're right. You were very right. That's why we did this opening with Sam Cedar. Or you weren't here for that. Earlier
sorry.
we did an opening. No, it's fine. I stole it from Sarah's channel.
Okay, cool.
Good spot on your account.
With her permission, I hope. You don't just want to admit that. Oh, okay.
Just full on thieving. But I'll watch you on it.
I may go tell on you. I kind of want to. I want to get in Sarah's good books.
Well, I'll watch you tattle on me then.
I guess I don't know. I could just DM her, right? So I don't have to let you know that it happened. And then like you don't get like a direct consequence either. You're just blacklisted. That's how it works here. I'm just kidding though. I don't care about people stealing stuff. And if she cares, then I'll just be like,
sir, this show is your show. This is just Riz Review.
wait, is it? No, then I don't think we should be using stuff without people's permission. Unless they're not here to complain about it.
I guess the consent was implied, I thought, but maybe not. Fair enough.
We did it as a homage, okay? It was an homage to Raging Tomato. And I said the name wrong, which very much shows that I care deeply about giving her credit.
F it. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna set us up to raid Raging Tomato because most of the audience is gonna have no effing idea what we're talking about, folks.
Well, now we're definitely gonna get told on.
Oh yeah. What's the thing I'm trying to say? If we are
wait, how is this my show, but I'm a house debater? How does that work?
I'm
like
also a house debater.
Elf.
You and I are the house debaters.
Oh wait, so you're like Harry Potter. You gave me the sock. I get it now.
Princess got the sock. Princess is the.
Wait, I'm still a slave? I don't get it.
I think in this scenario we're both slaves.
Oh, we're both house elves together. No, you're the host. I don't get it.
No. In theory, Princess is supposed to be the host, but that's only because I'm a well-known incompetent.
I think he might care more about the speed debating show just a little bit. I think he wants us to do this on our own. Because he's already like, by the way, I may no longer want you to host the dating show at certain points just so we can bring on other hosts. So like I'm the what's the word for it when you're like the ringer or something? You're just like you're the next to be kicked off kind of deal.
No, that's the ringer is what you are here. The ringer is somebody who's like really good at a thing and you bring them on when you don't want to F around. You just want
no, I mean like, yeah, I'm the opposite to like Princess on the dating show. I'm just like the lowest hanging fruit waiting to be chopped off.
Oh. I'm telling you, man, if hopefully whoever that other girl was that was on there when I was there also gets kicked off and then we can start a new one. Because I think
Torsha? No, he loves Torsha.
No. Who's the
There's several last time.
We'll talk. Folks, when this ends, it will go into the other stream we were talking about, Raging Tomato, hosted by Sarah.
Raging I'm gonna try to just drop into. Hopefully she doesn't mind.
You might see your old pal Melanie Cosmic Fox again. And I am going
Well, it won't be that old.
Roast a J. This has been WYCD Wicked. That stands for What You Can Do. Speed Debate with your old pal Jake and Melanie Cosmic Fox. And this is Donald James X.
Good night, Eric.
Melanie said good night. Sorry.